Hi, John Morgan here with Bob's Market and Greenhouses, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, our weekly show right here on the internet. And to get things started off today, let's take a look at an announcement. And that's regarding our Yard of the Month contest. So, our Yard of the Month contest, the submissions are due by this Sunday, September 30th, for this month's Yard of the Month contest. So if you're interested in entering the Yard of the Month contest, send your photos to askask@bobsmarket.com. And be sure to include your name and your address, so that way I can contact you if you win. And, you know, it's getting into fall now, so hopefully we'll see some pretty fall pictures for the Yard of the Month contest. And first up this week, we've got a lot of apples at our store right now, and, you know, we just have a huge selection for sale, so stop by and check it out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that you can do with those apples. And a great weekend project is making homemade apple butter. Now, a lot of people think that you need a copper kettle and all that stuff to make apple butter, but you can really do it right in your home, and it's a lot simpler than that. So let's take a look at this recipe. Hi, John Morgan here with Bob's Market and Greenhouses. And this evening, we're actually in my kitchen. And what I wanted to do was show you a great fall recipe. What says fall better than apples? And apple butter. But a lot of people think that apple butter's a really complicated recipe, and you need a fire and a copper kettle and everything to make it. But actually, you can make it right in your house using a crock pot. So let me show you this simple recipe. All apple butter starts off with the same basic ingredient, apples. And you can either use finely chopped apples, they'll take a little bit longer to cook, or you can do like I did and use applesauce, either homemade or store-bought. The next ingredient is, of course, the spices. And there's three main spices in a typical apple butter. Of course, the primary spice is cinnamon. And then also you have apple pie spice, which is a mixture of cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice. And then also ground nutmeg. And depending on the type of apple butter you want to make, you can vary the amounts of the different spices to get different flavors. And the next ingredient in apple butter is sugar. And it's kind of up to you how much sugar you use, but the color in apple butter, and of course the flavor, is a result of the caramelization of the sugar. And in my case, I'm using Demerara cane sugar. It's a less processed version of good old sugar that you use every day. And to me, it gives a little bit of a deeper flavor. And now it's time for my secret ingredient. Red cinnamon candies. Now, if you've ever had these, you know they pack quite a little kick to them. And by adding them to the applesauce and letting them mix in, it gives it a nice little kick. And, you know, it's up to you whether you add them or not, but to me, it just gives it that extra little touch of goodness. Alright, so our next step is to add all the ingredients. So let me start off first by adding our spices. So we'll just dump those in. Next we'll add our sugar. And last but not least, our secret ingredient, the cinnamon candies. And now we want to just give everything a nice stir and get it all nice and mixed in. There we go. And now that we've got everything mixed in good, we want to set our crock pot up on high for about 12 to 18 hours. However long it takes for the apple butter to cook down. And again, depending on whether you choose to use fresh apples or apple butter, your time will vary. And here we have our finished apple butter. And it can either be stored in the refrigerator, or you can can it by using a hot water bath for about 20 minutes. For this and other great information, check us out at bobsmarket.com. That's a pretty good recipe. I've made it a few times. In fact, I think I'm going to do it this weekend. Let's kind of switch gears now and talk about fall foliage. The leaves are starting to change around here. We're just starting to get into the beginning of the fall foliage season. So let's take a look at a national map and then more of a regional map of our area to see where the best fall colors are at right now. This is great if you're planning a road trip. So if we take a look at the national map, it's mainly in the west, around Denver and up through the Rockies. And then of course the northeast and the northern Midwestern states, like up around Chicago. And of course, up there the temperatures are cooler. And also, there's less sunlight this time of year, so that's mainly why the colors are changing. So if we zoom in on the northeast, you can see that it's starting to make its way down into our area. And I know I've started to see some trees that are just now starting to change. So we'll keep an eye on this forecast over the next few weeks and keep it updated. So now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And as far as the weather goes, right now it's a little wet outside. If we take a look at the national radar, you can see a pretty good swath of rain going right across us right now. And if we zoom in and take a look here at our area, there's a pretty good bit of rain there down in the southern part of West Virginia, but it's all moving off to the east and to the south. And as this front passes, it's going to cool temperatures off a bit. So it's going to get down pretty chilly tonight. We're looking at temps in the 40s. And it's going to stay pretty cool all weekend. In fact, tonight may be the warmest night of the weekend. And as far as daytime temperatures goes, we're going to have a high pressure system moving in, and that's going to keep temperatures down in the lower 70s for the weekend. So we're looking at temps right around 70 tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we're going to start to inch up a little bit more. 75 for the Charleston area. 73 and cooler the farther north you go. And it looks like our next shot at rain isn't going to be until around Friday. So we're going to have another system kind of similar to what we have now setting up toward the end of next week. So we're kind of getting into one of those fall cycles of a few days of the week where we've got pretty nice weather and then a rainy patch settling in. Which of course this is great for the drought that we've had pretty much all summer. I haven't checked the soil moisture readings for our area, but I bet this is putting a pretty good dent in those drought conditions. And if we take a look at the allergy forecast, this rain is really helping out if you've got allergies, because we are down around a 2.1 on our allergy scale now, which is, pretty much rock bottom on it. And really the only thing that we have right now as far as allergies go is ragweed pollen. And if you look at the national map, that is the main pollen concern. So right now, if you suffer from ragweed, it's probably having an effect on you. And well, that finishes up our show for this week. And of course, to get this and tons of other great stuff, perhaps the best way to find out what's going on at Bob's is to get our newsletter. And you can do that by texting Bob's, B-O-B-S, to the number 22828. And that will sign you up for the newsletter. So until next week, I'll see ya.